next Vice President of the United States? I want you to give him a huge Viva Joe Biden! Viva Joe Biden! Viva Joe Biden! The next Vice President, Joe Biden!
Michael, thank you very much for your hospitality, and thank you for allowing me to be in the district, which is soon to be represented by Harry T. Harry, I want you to understand one thing. The governor is a very important governor, I know that. He used to be a very important congressman. And he and I both know vice presidents ain't much. And so, Harry, before you learn the lesson from the governor, one of my jobs for President Obama is going to be, I'm going to be the guy trying to help push through our legislative agenda. So, Harry, when they say the vice president wants to see you, don't say you're busy, Harry. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, you got to send Harry. We need the help. Send Jill, go ahead and send Tom Udall. Jill, thanks for the introduction and the comments. And, you know, I go back, as the governor can tell you, he did point out that I'm older than he is. That's true. We did meet when I was about 29 years old. I got elected when I was 29. But only one important thing I want you all to know, particularly you women in the front here. I want you to know there are only 4 members of the Senate who are senior to me. But the very important thing to know is there are still 39 older than me. That's the part I want you to know. That's the truth. 39 older, and I want to tell you, when I was a young senator and I looked at this job once, not this job, but that other job once before, the guy who helped me was Tom Udall's father, and you got great blood down here. The governor and I go back a long way, and we've been friends a long, long time. When we were doing those debates, and they not only forgot you ran, they forgot I ran too. But we didn't forget each other. If you notice, we'd be up there on the stage, and we'd always be talking to one another. And the press would always say, "What in God's name are you guys laughing about all the time?" And we look at each other and say, we're wondering which one of us would get called on, if ever, in this debate. So,
KBIA.com and on the web.
Look, folks,
on the homepage. You can't miss us on the homepage.
We have reason to be encouraged because of what's been going on, not just in the public, but the perception we've been getting around the country. But I want to make it clear to you. This election is very, very, very far from over. This administration has bequeathed, I think, the tactics of Karl Rove to the McCain administration. You're going to see some pretty tough stuff. Pretty tough stuff in these last 2 weeks. We cannot let up. And folks, you've been handed, every one of you, one of these sheets. As you well know, that you fill out this early vote commitment card here before you leave today, and you find one of our volunteers here. You know, in 2004, early voting was 50% of the total vote here in New Mexico. If we get that over 60% this year in early voting, it will bode incredibly well for us. And early voting starts tomorrow, folks. So please vote. Vote early. Vote early. 6,000 votes were the difference in this state in the 2004 presidential election. Fewer than 6,000 votes. That's 4 votes for every precinct. 180 votes per county made the difference in whether or not we won or lost. And we lost because we were that short. Ladies and gentlemen, we need your help. We need your help. But if we're serious about bringing reform, fundamental reform to this nation, our job isn't going to be done till you cast your ballot. Turn this country around, folks. After 23 months of campaigning, 8 years of failed economic policy, there's not one fundamental economic issue on which John McCain has challenged the policies of George Bush. He always turns to Barack and says, when have you challenged your party? And Barack has. I turn to John and say, John, when have you challenged President Bush on any major economic initiative? Tell me, when? Ladies and gentlemen, he voted for 4 out of 5 of George. I like it, man. Don't jump. I need you. Folks, 4 out of 5 of Bush's budgets he voted for. 4 out of 5. He voted with President Bush 90% of the time. Look, as one recent newspaper article, editorial just wrote 4 days ago, and it's the best way to sum it up. I'm going to read it. He said, it's a shame that Mr. McCain hasn't come up with policies that would actually help American workers. Instead, he served up the same old trickle-down theories, and government is wrong and markets are always right fervor that has helped create this economic crisis. I couldn't have said it better, folks. That's exactly what he's done. Again, there's no fundamental difference, none, between what John McCain is offering and what President Bush has done. Just take a look at the facts. John McCain wants to continue Bush's tax cuts for the very few wealthy. The very tax cuts that are due to expire. By the way, we didn't have to cut them out. Under the law, they're to expire next year. John not only wants to keep them in place, he wants to, as we say, double down. He wants to double down on them. He wants to add $300 billion of new tax cuts for the largest corporations in America and the wealthiest 1% of the American people. Folks, Barack and I have a different idea. Let those tax cuts expire. Instead, provide substantial tax cuts to middle-class Americans where they need the money. Give them some help now. Allow them to have the money to be able to stay in their homes, pay their mortgage, send their kid back to school, actually have health insurance. Ladies and gentlemen, just like George just like George Bush, John McCain. Folks, look, if you give Barack and me the honor of being your next president and vice president, I want to tell you straight up, and I'll do it quickly because the sun is hot. 2 things are going to be the entire focus, not a joke, of our administration. The first is we're going to restore the middle class. The entire focus of our effort is to restore. Now, by the way, it's not just because it's fair. This country has never grown when the middle class is shrinking. The rich can't even stay rich in a democracy when the middle class is failing, and the poor get poorer when the middle class is failing. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's our first mission. The second mission will be reclaiming and reestablishing our place in the world, our leadership in the world, and no one knows more about the world. In order for us to reestablish our credibility in the world, it's going to start with one thing. We will end this war in Iraq.